Welcome to Witty Banter Halloween Edition. I'm Wart.
And I'm Greg. And this is our frog, Jason Funderburger.
So in reality, I am Steven.
And I'm Lauren.
And as you can see,
This is still Jason Funderburger.
That is still Jason Thunderburger. As you can see, we are dressed up for Halloween. Lauren, if not her favorite, one of her favorite holidays. I think it's her absolute favorite holiday.
It is my favorite holiday.
And for those of you who have no idea what we are dressed up as, there is a series called Over the Garden Wall. And the main characters are a pair of brothers, one who is tall and kind of pessimistic, Wart, and one who is shorter and full of sunshine and rainbows,
Greg.
And their frog,
Jason Funderburger.
Alright, so as I said, this is our Halloween episode, and I don't know, as usual, we haven't shared the topics with each other ahead of time. I don't know if yours is Halloween based, but mine is.
Mm-hmm.
I have two topics actually.
Okay.
So the first one I think is going to be a pretty short topic, and that is your strongest scary movie memory. So this is basically not what movie do you think is the scariest, but what scary movie really stuck with you, memory wise. So would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first? You want me to go first so you can think?
I have two different answers for this.
That's okay.
So
how about you do one answer, I'll do an answer, then you do your second answer.
Okay, well, I think it would be different if I watched it again.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I watched it, it scarred and scared the living daylights out of me.
That's why I said strongest memory, not scariest memory.
So, and your dear niece...
Sorry. For those of you listening on the podcast, we are dressed up in costumes, and I am wearing a pointy gnome hat, and every time I see myself in the camera, I giggle. All right, please continue.
So your niece is going to be very disappointed in me.
Oh.
But the movie Coraline scared the living daylights out of me. And I don't remember even how old I was. I think I was in middle school.
We're actually, all right, finish your thought here. I just realized we forgot to do the other thing we do, the book
We can do it
thing.
at the end.
But then we do the other thing at the end.
Well,
So finish your thought, and then we'll come back to it. Okay. Or we'll do it after this question.
I was going to say, you're throwing off the groove, my
sorry,
guy.
I'm sorry. I am a terrible host. I apologize. Okay. So, Coraline.
Yeah, I'm a huge Tim Burton fan. I'm a huge animation fan. So I remember when I was a kid, when Nightmare Before Christmas first came out,
Mm-hmm.
I remember being terrified of going into Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Back when Blockbuster was a thing.
Yeah.
Because they had a huge display with Jack on the Hill,
Mm-hmm.
and it scared me. I remember when it was there, I hid behind my parents and hid behind the shelves so I wouldn't have to see that display. So I always kind of had an issue, I guess, with creepy stop motion imagery. But now Nightmare, of course, is one of my all-time favorite films of all time. But then with Coraline, that never happened. Again, I haven't seen it since I watched it that very first time. It scared me so badly that I never wanted to watch it again. Which is funny because Neil Gaiman, who's one of my favorite authors of all time, wrote Coraline
Mm-hmm.
for his 8-year-old daughter, and I read the book last year, and the book really didn't scare me at all. But again, I'm an adult now,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know. I think I was about 13, 14, I guess, when Coraline came out. I don't know. I didn't look up dates. But I was basically late middle school, I think, when I saw it, and it just scared me so much. I vowed I would never watch it again.
Wow. Yeah, that is a strong one.
So, yeah. I really want to change that, though, because
if there's a second one, that's fine. Yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, I want to watch Coraline again. Because
okay.
I feel now, if it still scares me after all these years,
Mm-hmm.
then, holy crap, that is, the scariest movie to ever exist. But, a lot has changed, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
since then. So I'm curious to see if it still freaks me out the same way it did back when I was your niece's age.
All right. So my answer is a little more simplistic, and I think I've told you this before. It would be the animal horror movie Anaconda. So I believe I was also either late elementary or early middle school age when I saw this. Far too young, in my opinion, to watch this movie.
Who let you
And
watch this movie?
well, I'm sure my folks let me watch this movie, but like
You should not have.
I
is what
should
you're
not have.
saying.
Yeah, because like for those who've never seen it, it's by the time you can kind of tell it's about a giant anaconda that like is so large that it can actually swallow people whole, which it does. Spoilers. And like it messed with me so much as a child that like after watching it, I laid in bed watching the window, waiting for a giant snake to burst through like it did in the movie.
Oh.
And see, like, I don't watch many horror movies. It is not a genre I particularly enjoy.
Mhm.
And so like there isn't many to compete in this category. But that's just one that like years later I still remember as a kid, it just freaking me the heck out.
Mhm.
And just being like, oh God, just lying in bed, looking up at my window, waiting for something to burst through.
Yeah, that's pretty terrifying.
All right, you said you had a second one?
Yeah, so same thing. I'm not a horror movie person whatsoever. I am a wuss. And actually, there's two. So, the one, I'll make it quick.
All right.
But, like, the one that my sister and I watched together and we screamed, like, every 15 minutes, and my parents thought it was so hilarious. It was it Curse of the Mothman? Is that what it's called? It's basically, like, it's not that scary. And the other one I was going to mention was The Woman in Black. Because that was one of the first movies that Daniel Radcliffe did after Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I want to see Daniel Radcliffe act in something other than Harry Potter. And it was like this Victorian, like creepy, like it was technically a horror film, but it wasn't like, like the major mainstream slasher horror movies. It was like a Victorian creepy ghost story.
Mental horror.
Yeah, more of a thriller. So like, but it wasn't good. Like objectively, it was not a very good movie. But, like, it stuck with me because I was not accustomed to the genre. Ergo, everything scary about that movie was jump scares.
I hate jump scares.
That was my first experience with jump scares. So I was terrified the entire movie. And then I, like, objectively looked back at it later and was like, it really wasn't that scary. No. Nor was it that good of a movie. But it didn't matter. Because it just, on the jump scare factor alone, because I was so unaccustomed to that kind of entertainment, it scared me so bad.
Yeah.
Same with Mothman. Like, it really wasn't scary, but there was a whole lot of, like, they were, like, documenting out in the woods, and it was a creepy video camera situation, and then, like, movement would happen, and then they would move the camera real fast, and there'd be a flash of light, and there'd be a big figure. Like, it was that kind of stuff, and it scared us a lot. We screamed multiple times.
Yeah, like, I remember a YouTuber I like to watch called Zero Punctuation, who does video game reviews. He personally enjoys horror video games, and he talks about how he hates overuse of jump scares because he's like, it is the lowest form of scare for horror.
It's like the toilet humor of horror.
Yeah, it's like it's like a fart joke in comedy. It's the lowest form because even a cat in a garbage can do a jump scare.
Yes.
So it's just like it doesn't take much to do jump scares.
It doesn't mean it's not scary.
It doesn't mean it's not scary, but it is a low form of scare, and it also kind of only works once because it's just like if you watch the movie again, you're like, as long as you can remember it somewhat, you're like, okay, he's gonna jump out now, and this is gonna happen now. Whereas more psychological horror, when you go back and watch it, it's still freaky because even though you know what's happening, the scene itself is still freaky. So like I feel like jump scares are good for like one watch things, but if you want something that you want to watch say every Halloween, jump scares aren't going to do it because it's like, well, I know he's going to jump out when he opens the door or something like that.
I will say though, in my case, I can still brace myself for a jump scare, and it still manages to scare me.
A little bit, yeah. I have that issue too sometimes where, so for example, in the Batman movie Dark Knight Rises, with the Joker, and that one scene where the Batman imitator like hits the window, I still jump at that even though I know it's coming. All right, so now doing things a little out of order. I'm gonna say it's because of the Halloween, like because we did the intro a little bit different. But yeah, now we'll do the Does Lauren Know Her Book segment. sorry to those who like uniformity, and now this is out of order. But if you like uniformity, we haven't really been that uniform in these
I was gonna
podcasts.
say, I don't think that's really something we have to worry about much.
All right, so
Okay.
Close your eyes.
I'm not paying any attention. My eyes are closed. Behind Jason Funderburker.
So showing off the first book to those watching on the YouTubes. All right, so this is a hardcover book.
Okay.
The jacket is, I'd say, a very dark blue, like it almost looks black.
Mm-hmm.
It made me nervous when you put the frog down. I was like, okay,
I told you my eyes were closed.
I know, but so like I believe for those, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I do have a very slight color blindness, so sometimes I have trouble with shades. But yeah, it's a very heavy navy blue, like dark.
A hardcover that's really dark navy blue.
The jacket is, not the book itself. The book appears to be a light grayish color.
Okay.
It has white font for the title and the author's name. It's going to be fun to describe this because there is a lot of stuff going on in this cover.
Okay,
like,
I have an idea.
If you no-scope this again, I don't know.
Okay.
No. I want to see if you can no-scope this again, simply for me. Now, let's recap. All I have told her is that the color of the jacket, the color of the book cover, the color of the font, and that there's a lot going on in the cover.
The only thing tripping me up is I don't remember the font being white, but I have a really, solid idea of what this could be.
All right, if you want to try to give it a guess.
Okay, I get 3 shots, right? 3 guesses?
Yes.
So my first guess, I'm going to say The Midnight Library by Matt Haig.
No. Do you want me to give you more clues before you use your other guesses?
Yes, because that was the only thing that came to my brain.
All right, so it kind of has. I don't want. No, if I describe that, you're definitely going to get. So it has a lot of items.
See, that's why I thought that's what I would be.
So I will say a couple of the items.
Okay.
One. So in the lower left-hand corner, we have a comb, a bone, and a feather. In the right-hand side,
Wait, but that covers black with gold and silver. But I got rid of the other book that I thought that this could be. Okay,
I mean,
keep going,
I said, it could be black. It looks dark navy blue to me, but it could be black.
Okay.
On the right side is a coffee cup that is spilt over and draining into a drain. And I think
I think it has to be. I think there's no way it can't be this book.
Okay, do you want to do your second guess?
It has to be The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert.
That is correct.
Yeah!
Is that black? That is black. So sometimes with certain shades of black, they look navy, dark navy blue.
You're gonna laugh at this though.
What?
The reason I was so confused was because the sequel to this
does
have a navy blue cover.
And
I was like, but I unhauled that book because I read it and it was good, but I personally like just The Hazelwood itself by a standalone as opposed to it being a duology. So I was like, well, it can't be The Night Country because I got rid of The Night Country.
But you can see what I meant. There's a lot going on in this cover.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I was going to say it has a figure 8 and a tree. But if I describe how that. If you would have
said dagger, I would have known it immediately.
I was going to say if I described how this figure 8 was formed, road and train and then branches. Yeah. I was like, no, that'll give it away easily. I was like, what's something I could describe on here that might not give it away? So that's why I went with the corner here, the comb, bone, and feather.
Yeah, when you said bone, I'm like, yeah, and a comb. It's both a modern and a really fairy tale thing. I'm like, it's gotta be The Hazelwood. It has to be. It has to be.
All right, so that is a success on the first book.
That was a good. Are you doing spooky books to go along with a spooky theme?
Maybe.
Oh no!
Actually, no. I just grabbed that book randomly. I had no idea that was spooky. I don't know your books.
It's not really a Halloween book, but it's a spooky book. You can't tell by looking at that. That's kind of a spooky book.
I mean, it kind of looks spooky, but I just saw. I was like, ooh, there's a lot. That's cool.
Nice imagery.
Yeah, because I don't want to pick a book that's just basically solid color with the title, because all right, you're not gonna have anything to describe about that. All right, so got it on the second. You had one strike, but you swung at a wild pitch there with me being able to describe that a little bit.
Well, here, hold Jason.
Okay, I'm holding Jason.
I want to show you. Sorry.
For those of you listening on the podcast, Lauren just got up and stepped on my foot.
This is the book I thought you were describing.
Yeah, that is definitely navy blue.
Do you see what I mean? Like it has a whole bunch of different things on it. But I'm pretty sure the font isn't white, but it's still light. So that is what I thought you were talking about. Which, when you put them side by side, very different. But, not different, so different that it's not a completely ridiculous guess.
All right, you ready for the second one?
Yes.
Here's your frog.
Thank you. Our frog.
Our frog.
Our frog.
Those of you who have watched Over the Garden Wall will get that joke. Everyone else will be like, they are crazy.
We are crazy.
That's true, too. Yeah, they're not mutually exclusive. So, eyes closed?
Yes.
Eyes closed. Okay. Going behind Pikachu here. Pikachu just does such a good job of, blocking these books.
He's a very good book holder.
All right. So, showing the audience. All right. This is a paperback.
Okay.
The cover is kind of multicolored because on the edges it's black, but as you move towards the center, it goes more to a light blue because it's like a light source coming from the top. So the outside is like shadow, and as you get closer to it, it's like a light blue. The print is white, and I'm curious if you're going to get us off this next clue. In the center of the cover is a fancy chair.
Oh!
You have a guess for your first swing?
You gave this one to me. It's Neon Gods.
Yep.
Yeah!
Oh, who's it by?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, by
Kate Robert.
Kate Robert. All right, so Neon Gods. That's why I was very nervous.
That's the only book I think I own that has a chair.
Yep. That's why I figured that. But what else am I going to describe on this book?
That's pretty much it.
But I was like, I know you knew. I knew that. I knew you read this recently.
I haven't read that one yet.
I thought you did.
No.
Oh, never mind that. I got it for you recently.
You did. I haven't read it yet.
So I don't know. I was nervous when you went over that in that direction because I thought you would notice.
Oh, it is missing.
So But what I did, as you probably said, I
screwed over.
Which is one reason. So when I get these books, she goes into the bedroom, and this time I had her close the door because I was planning on getting a book from that shelf that's on top of that's on the countertop, and I was worried when I moved the book end that would make a noise and give you a hint.
I wondered why you were so adamant about me not hearing where you were going.
Yeah, because there's other stuff here that can also if I knock over a Funko Pop and you come in, you're like, well, that Funko Pop is slightly askew. That must be it's coming from there.
He's not exaggerating either. I'm very conscious of where things are in this apartment.
I mean, I think this game shows how conscious you are of things in general.
That's fair.
All right, so we are 2 for 2.
Yes.
Are we going to get?
Wasted one guess.
Yeah. Are we going to have the hat trick? Yeah, you got that first swing.
Yeah.
All right, so close your eyes. The third book, showing to the audience. All right. So, this cover is mostly orange, but the bottom portion is the bottom inch or so is purple.
What? I'm sorry, did you say hardcover or paperback?
Oh, sorry, paperback.
Paperback?
It is a paperback.
Okay.
It is mostly orange, except for the bottom inch is purple. The top part is a bit darker orange than the middle part. Sorry, hiccup there.
What?
The font is kind of glitter, like shiny, glittery looking.
What?
Have you stumped on this one?
I think you might.
Because I was
shiny
people
glittery?
watching can tell me if
wait.
Do you have a guess off of this?
Is it a graphic novel?
It is not a graphic novel.
Damn. Okay, never mind.
I'm not counting it as a swing.
There goes that theory. Yeah, that's not really it.
That's not a guess. That was, but it's not a graphic novel. Looking through this, nope, that's not a graphic novel.
Okay.
All right, so now I'll start describing what's on it.
Okay.
All right, there is a ladder. There is a dog with its paw on top of a stack of books.
What?
There is a dog. On the letter is a woman reading a book. She is in overalls. She does not have a face. It's one of those.
Oh, Jason. Oh no.
That art style where they don't give them faces.
I know what it is.
You know what it is?
I do. Is there a boy on the cover?
There's
too?
also a boy on the cover.
Yes, it is. Well, what's it? It's by Ashley Poston. It's the third book in the Geekarella series, the Once Upon a Con series.
I will agree that is correct with the author.
Bookish and the Beast?
Correct.
Yes!
Bookish and the Beast.
Okay.
Yes, orange,
Yeah.
purple.
Oh my god!
And would you not call that glittery?
No, it's glittery.
Yeah,
You're
it's
totally right. Like her fonts are glittery on her books.
And it's like I was shocked because I was like, how many books does she have that are orange with purple and glitter? I'm like, she's gonna get it first swing
I
there.
did not think I owned any, but This is the only book in the series I haven't read. I've read the first two, but I haven't read the third one.
I keep picking books you haven't, like 2 of the 3 books you haven't read.
Yes, that's correct. I've read one of them.
All right, so there you go. You are 3 for 3 with only one miss. I'm gonna say on the third one though, you had a foul ball.
Because I thought it was a graphic novel.
Because you thought it was a graphic novel.
Well, I'm sorry. Most of the books I own that have any orange on them are graphic novels, so I did not even realize I had a book that was orange. I had no idea.
But yeah, so I'm gonna say that was a foul ball because you kind of did a swing, but you didn't have a full swing and it went foul. All right, so
I had to clarify. I had to know.
All right,
that determines a lot.
This
hat is messing with my. I apologize for fussing with my hair so much, but I'm not used to having a teapot on my head.
I have 2 foot of hat on my head.
We're not used to wearing hats.
I'm used to wearing hats. I am not used to wearing a hat that adds like 2 feet to my height. I am already a tall man.
And now you're even taller.
And now I'm even tall. Like we had the issue when I came to get you after finding the books, my hat hit the doorway, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta worry about that.
We had to fix his hat at least once already.
All right, so now that we've gotten that out of the way,
yes.
We can now go to and we did my first topic.
We did.
Now we can do your topic, which is...
Okay, so mine...
Yours?
Mine is...
Your topic.
So I recently found this little beauty, and it is a collection of ghost stories by one of my favorite illustrators. And I've been reading one every night. There's 12 stories in total, so I've been reading one every night leading up to Halloween.
Who's the illustrator for those listening on the podcast?
Edward Gorey is the illustrator for anyone who wants to know.
Because it's the people watching the video can just look at the book.
Well,
but
it's hard to tell from here.
That is true too.
This is Edward Gorey's collection of short stories.
Edward Gorey.
Yes, I'd love to know if Edward Gorey is his real name or a pen name. I never did look it up. But if it isn't a pen name, how freaking perfect of a name does this man have? He's no longer with us, but you know. So, the reason I bring this up is because I've been having a kick reading all these ghost stories. Mm-hmm. So what I wanted to know is, do you have any either urban legends or ghost stories that you like grew up listening to, or like things that you thought were real maybe, but they actually were, you know what I'm saying? Like what spooky stories do you have that you carried with you that like shaped your childhood and like maybe your impressionable years?
Okay, I have 2 things that might be in this realm.
Well, and I have to one more thing. I have to clarify. You being a very scientific individual, you probably don't believe in the supernatural, do you?
Not really, no.
See, I do.
Yeah, that is probably the I wouldn't even say it's a strong contention, but the most contention in our relationship is that she believes in supernatural and spiritual things far more than I do. Mm-hmm. And however, I do respect your choices of believing in things that I do not believe in.
Well, the reason I ask is because what you find spooky or scary might be different than what I do based on what you personally believe is real. Like, you know, you might be more spiritual, realistic things.
That's why I had to kind of twist this a little bit, because like I can't really think of many like ghost stories like the man with the rusty hook or something like that like really shaped me or something like that. One of the things I can think of though is, this kind of goes more with my imagination as a child, is when I was very little, I used to imagine that there were either alligators or crocodiles. I can't remember which because I did not look at their imaginary snouts.
You weren't scientific in your imagination.
Well, also, this is, 30 years ago, so excuse me for not remembering the species of imaginary reptile. So we're just going to say alligators for the sake of argument. That there were alligators under my bed.
Okay.
And so if I stood at the foot of my bed, they would bite my feet off. And so this meant that, like, in order to get into bed, I had to jump in and jump out of bed.
Okay.
And, like, I remember, and the reason I remember this so clearly is at one point, I think my mom might have yelled at me for jumping onto bed. So I was like, well, I have to do something about the alligators if I want to stop jumping off the bed.
I can't do this anymore, so I must find a solution.
So what I ended up doing was taking an imaginary grenade, pulling the pin, and throwing it underneath my bed to blow up the alligators so I would no longer have to jump off the bed.
Okay.
So, and like...
Did it work? Did
yes,
they go away?
Yes, they were I don't know any alligator that can survive a hand grenade.
Well, I mean, they're imaginary alligators. They can do what they want.
And it's an imaginary hand grenade. That's how you have to kill imaginary alligators, with an imaginary hand grenade. I mean, I guess technically speaking, if I did throw a real hand grenade underneath my bed, the imaginary alligators would be gone because I'd be gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like it was something that like I kind of used to scare myself.
Okay.
So that's why I'm kind of putting it in that realm. For scary stories, my family is a bunch of storytellers.
Mm-hmm. That's why I wanted to do this too, because I figured there's got to be some creepy
but we
story.
didn't really tell scary stories.
Oh, I was wrong.
We told some stories that were like kind of creepy and stuff like that. Stories that I probably should not have recorded on YouTube. But like I think I told you the one about the squirrel in the attic, right?
Yeah, those are more like gory.
That's
really
that's gory.
scary.
Yeah, so use your imagination for that one, folks. But anyway, the closest I can think to a scary story, which my Uncle Dave Long still has told once or twice to the new generation, is the giant purple ape story.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, and it, like the way it's told is like a scary story.
That's true.
It just doesn't end like a scary story. It's like that's the only scary story I remember being told as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, I was never big into horror, so like I never pursued like, ooh, let's all tell scary stories or something. That just wasn't something I did.
Mm-hmm.
But so I would say those would be the closest thing to what you're talking about.
Okay.
I imagine that you are going to have a much more accurate answer.
I really don't have an answer because
I was wrong.
Yeah, no, mine is more of like just experiences that I've had where I thought I had, or as people around me or I have encountered things that were not very explainable.
So in that situation, I guess the closest thing I have is sometimes when I think I hear someone say my name and I look and like either no one is talking to me or no one is in the direction I look or something, where I just all of a sudden I think I hear someone saying Steven, and I turn and either they are not talking at all or there's nobody there, and I'm like, oh, must have been my imagination.
So yeah, you think it's more of you're used to hearing people saying your name, so you just kind of hear it.
So like if I hear someone talking and they say something close to Steven,
okay,
or just simply my mind wandering and somehow the name Steven pops into my head, and
so you're not talking about standing alone when I'm not home and you're in the bathroom and all of a sudden you hear a voice whisper your name and you're like, oh my god, what's that?
I'm usually around people when I think I hear someone say
so
Steven.
It could potentially be someone saying your name.
No, because when I turn, like, those people
I know it isn't. It's still your imagination,
yes.
But it could be someone saying your name.
Yeah.
Because there are people with you, is what I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah, yes. It's not the situation where I'm completely by myself and all of a sudden I'm like, you're Steven.
Right. That's not what you're talking about.
No, that's not what I'm talking
about. So that would be a whole different situation. Yes. And that's what I'm talking about.
And I would still say that would be in my imagination. Like I said, when I turn around, and there's, like, I hear someone say Steven behind me, I turn around, there's nobody there. That was in my head then.
Because yeah, I've just known. I feel like I have encountered many a haunted place in my day. So, for example, back when I was doing community theater in my hometown, the community theater was in an old abandoned church, and this place was creepy. I mean, like it was fine on the base level. Like it was still pretty creepy, but like, you know, enough people came in and inhabited it and like were there often enough that it had an air of use and people were in it. So it was still kind of a creepy old building, but it wasn't scary. But the upstairs, where it was like a cathedral on the upper level, and it was where all the costumes were and all the set pieces, where everything, it was basically like a graveyard where all the stuff of shows past went to go rust. And it was completely dark up there, save for like 2 or 3 random spotlights that they had placed. And it was echoey and shadowy, and it was just terrifying to be up there. And especially if you went by yourself, like, it was always better to go, like, no one liked going up there by themselves. They always wanted to bring someone with them. And it was so funny, because I guarantee this wasn't an actual paranormal encounter. We just spooked ourselves and got scared. But I went up there with one of the other actresses, and she screamed bloody murder, and then I screamed bloody murder. We ran downstairs. I'm pretty sure just a feather boa brushed her leg, but she was so hyped up on the scary atmosphere that she definitely thought that someone had touched her. But I'm like, I guarantee no one did. But this theater did have a whole lot of weird situations where there would be things sitting on a counter, and then all of a sudden they would be like halfway across the room on the floor, and nobody was within close proximity. Or like there was just a whole, like, theaters in general I think are like super haunted places, because there's always, it seemed like every theater I went to there was some myth about some person who haunted the space. Like at my alma mater, the main theater there's a woman who's up in the booth, and there's a blue light that comes on, and she plays the violin, and like all these different...
Wow, that's a specific one.
It was very specific. Well, and even, I mean, this is in the theater, this is my workplace, but my building where I work has had way too many accounts of suspicious activity for it not to be considered. There's actually tours. There's tours of both Nelson Hall and Old Main every Halloween, and they have a whole, like, the historical students have a whole, like, history of why the places are haunted. But, like, in my specific building, they have had reports of people who, when they work after hours, they'll hear footsteps upstairs and around them. There'll be doors slamming. There have been many accounts of seeing people sitting on the bench that sits right outside my personal office. There's a bench right next to the main room where everybody goes to, like, hold, you know, meetings and stuff. There's a bench. People have been reported sitting on that bench, but then there's nobody there. Like, they look and there's a person, and they look away for a second thinking, what the heck was that? They turn back, there's nobody sitting there. There's, like, been all these different, like, shadowy figures that have been reported throughout the building when there's no other people, or it's probably very unlikely that there are other people in the building with them. So, like, it's just, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I've heard nothing but multiple ghost stories from multiple people in multiple places in my life, where there have been places that just seem to be, but nothing ever malicious. Like, no one's ever had any problems with, like, malicious things in these places. But it seems like everybody that I talk to is like, oh man, don't be in this building after, 11 o'clock at night, because that's when you see all the weird stuff. So, like, I just have been fed a steady diet of these stories from all these different buildings and places. And you're like, oh my god, this is completely ridiculous. But I'm telling you what, that theater was haunted, I can tell you that much.
The answer I often give with these kinds of, where they're like, how do you explain that I saw it, is that human perception is so easily tricked that, like, we hear things that aren't there. Like, our mind tries to make sense of things that don't make sense, and like it has been proven that it is easy to trick the mind into thinking things are being said when they're not said, or something happened when it didn't actually happen. I remember watching a documentary talking about how easy it is to fool the human mind and be persuaded and stuff like that, where they staged a purse snatching in a park, and then gathered a bunch of people who witnessed the staged purse snatching in the park and asked them for details. And because it was a staged purse snatching, they had video and like the actual people and stuff like that to compare to what these people saw. Because to these people that they gathered, they thought it was real at the time, at the moment.
Right.
And so they describe the man, describe what happened, what this, that, and like the number of times, like how often people were just vastly wrong in the details or made up details that did not happen because it was just your brain. Your brain does not like unanswered questions, and so it will try to fill in answers where there are no answers. And that is kind of the category I put a lot of these hauntings and like seeing things that aren't there kind of things. And it's just like the hardest part about these kind of arguments, though, or discussions, I'd rather say discussions than arguments. Hardest part is people who do believe will ask the people who don't believe to disprove every single scenario that they have where they can't explain. And it's just like, it's impossible to disprove everything and stuff like that. And also, that is a faulty argument. It is not on me to disprove you. It is on you to prove it to me. You have to give me evidence. And simply saying you heard it from somebody or something like that, like, to me, evidence would be that, like, you captured a ghost or something like that. And it's just like, and even like video and stuff like that can be messed with. We've seen decades of video tampering to make people think that it was haunted, or someone said, see, this happened, and then professional photographers and stuff like that say, actually that happens in a camera when this and this happens and stuff like that. But since I'm not a professional photographer and I am not a psychologist, stuff like that, I don't have the information to disprove these people. And so they're like, see, you can't prove it wrong, which means it's right. It's like, no, I am not an expert. And it's like, that's, so like, that's why I always have issues with, it's one of my examples is when people talk about Bigfoot. That one's a lot easier. It's like, you want me to prove that there's Bigfoot? Give me fur and give it to a scientist and have them, because like every time that someone's gotten fur, they've analyzed that this is bear fur or this is this kind of fur, something like that. And it's just like, it's impossible to prove a negative. Prove Bigfoot doesn't exist. That's impossible, because like I can't search every inch of the woods to prove that Bigfoot doesn't exist. You can't prove a negative. You have to prove the positive, and then once you prove the positive, that means the negative is false.
Well, who's seen some scary stuff in his time?
Who's seen some?
Jason Thunder.
Yeah, you can tell by that. For those listening on the podcast,
this is the face of a haunted frog.
So yeah, for those listening on the podcast who obviously can't see our outfits, Lauren has a teapot on her head and a stuffed frog, both created by my wonderful, amazing, awesome sister.
Thank you, Sam.
And the frog, its eyes are kind of bulging out, and it looks like this frog has seen some stuff.
One more thing for my own question, though.
Yes.
I will say, my favorite ghost story that I ever read, though, that I continuously read, like when I was younger, was Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart.
That is a good one. I
love that story.
I do like SpongeBob's rendition of it.
There's a SpongeBob?
Yes.
Oh, the the cash singing.
No. You're thinking of the hash slinging slasher.
I am.
That's not the
same one?
No, this one was the squeaky boots.
Oh, the squeaky boots.
Yeah, they're here under the floorboards.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, episode.
that is a parody of the Telltale Heart.
Yep, that's right.
All right. So for my second talking point.
Second.
This
Not
one
first,
I don't.
But second.
Yes. This one shouldn't take too long. I don't want it to. So I want you. I have a list here of 5 fairly, I would consider fairly classic Halloween movies.
Uh-oh.
And I want you to rank them least favorite to most favorite. So starting with number 5
Okay.
and going to number 1. Also,
Okay.
I have marked on here how I think you are going to rank these movies. All right?
Okay.
Now, I'm sure some people listening or watching this are going to be like, I can't believe you didn't put this movie on, or I can't believe you didn't put this movie on.
Are you doing only ones that we know that we've both seen?
These are ones that I know we have both seen.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that caveat. Also, I don't watch a lot of Halloween movies, so like that made it a little harder for me to make a list of 5. And you're gonna laugh when you hear one of these, because so in no particular order,
Okay.
we have Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay. Which is also a Christmas movie.
Yes,
Fun fact.
but for this ranking list, we're gonna call it a Halloween movie.
It's both.
Yes, it is both.
Nightmare season is
And-
the start of spooky
Yep.
season until the end of the Christmas season.
And also, it primarily takes place in Halloween Town.
True.
So I would I do agree that it is both, but I would argue it is more a Halloween movie than a Christmas movie. Like
I'll give you that.
if you're doing percentages, I would say it's 75% a Halloween movie, 25% a Christmas movie.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so Nightmare Before Christmas,
Okay.
Halloween Town, the Garfield Halloween Special.
Oh my gosh.
So the reason she's laughing at this is like a week or two ago, I had her watch the Garfield Halloween Special because she had never seen it before. Because I needed a 5th movie that I knew we both watched.
I love how hard it is for you to figure this out. That's so funny.
So in order to make sure I had 5 movies for this list, I made her watch that one recently. Hocus Pocus.
Obviously.
Or 4 now. And the Peanut Halloween Special. What's it called?
Great Pumpkin.
Yeah. Yes.
It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie
That's
Brown.
it. It's a Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. On my list, I wrote Peanuts Halloween, and all of a sudden I was like, wait, no, it's not technically what it's called.
That's
All right. So those are the 5 ones. Okay.
Okay.
So, do you need a recap?
No.
You got them all?
I think
Okay.
I know right now.
So, what is your number 5? Lowest on the list.
Well, I'm sorry, baby. I know Garfield was your childhood and your life, but as a person watching it not in their childhood, even though it was a very cute little special, I very much enjoyed it, but I'm gonna have to say Garfield is number 5.
All right.
Just because it has no sentimental value for me, and it was just a little cartoon. It was adorable. So that's number 5.
All right. Number 4.
Would be the Peanut special.
All right.
Even though I went all, oh, it's very cute. But again, like, I don't have a super huge affinity with Peanuts or Charles Schultz, or I enjoy them. I love them. They're classic. But again, it's just a cute little Halloween special. It's not a must-watch for me.
So that's number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think we're getting into the harder category because so all that's left is Nightmare Before Christmas, Hocus Pocus, and Halloween Town, all of which I know you really love.
I do.
Like I knew those 2 were going to be low, but like this is where we're getting down to tough choices. So number 3.
I think is gonna have to be Halloween Town.
All right.
Simply because I don't believe it is a better film objectively than the other 2.
Okay.
Sentimentality value, though, like Halloween Town was revolutionary. Like it was so different, first of all, from any other Disney Channel original movies at the time. Like it was such a departure, and I love that they tried so hard to like add to the Halloween, you know, like not mythos, but like Disney's brand, like wanted to make another Halloween movie because Hocus Pocus was their first attempt at that. And it wasn't successful at first, but then it got a cult following. So I feel like the fact that they wanted to do it again with a Disney Channel movie was so cool. And like, the other reason I struggle is because I firmly believe Halloween Town 2 is superior to Halloween Town.
Really?
As a film. Like, I just think it's better. Even though the first one is so charming, it's not nearly as... It's very entry into the world. Like, there really isn't... Like, by the time you get to the second one, Marnie is doing magic, Sophie's kind of delving into doing magic, and I have whole thoughts on Marnie versus Sophie, which I won't go into. But I feel like that is when all the characters were at their best, and even though it was so much more fun to experience it as an outsider coming in the first movie, I just think that, I don't know, like, it's they could have done so much more with it, and I feel like they just kept it safe. Like, they kept it Muggle for a lot of the time when they could have gone more into the actual, like, witchy immersion of it. So, it's very good. It's one of my favorites, but I still think objectively it's not as good.
So that's number 3.
Yes.
Number 2,
Yes.
So we only have 2 left. What is your runner up for favorite or best Halloween
This is
movie?
blasphemous because I'm gonna say Hocus Pocus
Is number 2.
is number 2. I don't think it should be. I think it should be number 1, but I can't because like I have so much Hocus Pocus stuff now. Like I feel like it's more of a favorite movie for me now than it ever was earlier. I feel like it's become my favorite Halloween movie, but like I cannot put anything above Nightmare Before Christmas.
So that makes number 1.
I can't. It
Nightmare
has to
Before
be Nightmare
Christmas.
Before Christmas. Yeah.
All right. Now, I'm going to show you this list. At number 5, Garfield Halloween.
Yep.
At number 4, Peanuts Halloween.
Yay!
At number 3, Halloween Town.
Yup.
Number 2,
Hocus
Hocus Pocus,
yay!
Nightmare.
Yup, you
5
nailed
for
it.
5 nailed how she was going to rank this.
You
And it
nailed
was
it.
funny too, because like when I was reading off, I was like, all right, I need to randomize this a little bit, because if I read these in the order that I think she's going to rank them, it's going to be
Then
suspicious.
That's gonna be
So
boring.
for those of you paying very close attention, what I ended up doing was I went 1, 3, 5, 2, 4. So I did the odd ones first, then the even ones to mix it up a little bit. All right.
Okay,
now,
here's a question though. Do you think that Hocus Pocus is technically a better Halloween movie than Nightmare?
now, I was going to say, now I'm going to give my rankings.
Ah, okay.
So this will answer your question.
Okay.
So, for me,
Yes.
you are going to be very upset.
You're gonna put Nightmare at the end, aren't you?
No, but I'm going to put Halloween Town at number 5.
That makes sense. Because again,
'Cause-
objectively, not the best
Yes,
movie.
and like I think the reason it's at number 5 for me is the same reason why Garfield and Peanuts are so
You
low for
were a
you.
Disney Channel kid.
Is that it has sentimentality for you, whereas the other ones have more sentimentality for me.
I completely understand and respect that.
I'm going to put the Peanuts Halloween one at number 4.
Okay.
So that's the same place you had yours.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it. Just not a favorite.
I'm going to put Nightmare Before Christmas at number 3.
Okay.
So higher than what you were thinking, because you thought I was going to put it at the bottom.
Well, we had a whole debate the other
Yeah,
day about how
so-
he thinks Corpse Bride is a better movie than Nightmare Before Christmas, which I adamantly disagree.
Yes. My argument for why Corpse Bride is better is that I don't like Jack. Jack is a jerk. Because, well, look at what he does. He is bored with his job. So what is his solution? Is it get a hobby? Is it try to find new innovative ways to make his job interesting? No, it is steal somebody else's job who is fully content in their job, acting like he is doing a service to him. And even though this person is actively, showing all signs that they do not want him to do this, and then giving him, having him being taken care of by children that he knows work with a villain that he himself hates, and we are supposed to find him the hero because he saves Santa Claus from the villain that he put Santa Claus in the clutches of. It's just like, that makes no sense. That's like, I pushed you off a building, and then kind of like give me a second here. In Megamind, where it's just like, oh, I should save you. Whoops, I dropped you. Now I caught you. I saved you. You should be thankful to me. It's like, no, you're the one that put me in harm's way. Sorry, did not mean to go off on that hard of a tangent, but I want. So yeah, Nightmare is number 3 for me.
Sure.
Number 2 is Garfield Halloween
Hocus comes before Garfield.
because Garfield has a very, I'm a huge Garfield fan, as those who closely know me know, and like I love Garfield, and so growing up, I was actually a member of the official Garfield fan club growing up. Garfield had his own magazine catalog thing, and you could become a fan club. Somewhere in my parents' house, I believe, it still has the official sheet of paper saying I'm a fan, stuff like that. And so
Not
it's
just
just
a fan, an official fan.
fan. But yeah, so I'm a huge fan of Garfield. So that is personal here. But I love Hocus Pocus. It is by far my favorite Halloween movie. and it just makes me smile and laugh every single time. You know, it's just perfect. Like even the questionable parts where I'm like wait a minute here, how does the witch know what a learner's permit is or a driver's license when she didn't know what a bus was at the beginning of this movie, stuff like that. Even when those things happen, I'm willing to kind of push them aside simply with how great of a movie it is. Which, to be fair, it's your number 2, so it's like
it would be, like I say, it would be my number 1 if I just didn't have the nostalgia and the.
And like I said, this is a personal list, so
right.
I don't want to hear things in the comments of people being like, "Oh, that's wrong." You cannot be wrong with your personal rankings. If we were going with objectionably better movies, then you could be like saying we are wrong or right. But this is not objectionable. Even Lauren stated that certain things were objectionably better than what she ranked them. Mm-hmm. This is our personal taste. All right, so like I said, I nailed that pretty well, didn't I?
You did. I'm very impressed.
All right. So now to wrap up our podcast, because we're getting close to the end.
Wait, before we wrap up, I have one more spooky question for you.
One more? Okay, a bonus spooky question. What's that?
Vampires or werewolves? Make your argument. Go.
Okay, well.
In favor of. Who are we, like, so, okay.
Are we talking about who is scarier or who is cooler? Because that does make a difference of, like, I
think it's funny that Team Edward and Team Jacob are coming back, so I want to know, like, what are you?
Do I like werewolves or do I like vampires better?
Like, are you Team Edward or are you Team Jacob?
All right, that depends. Also,
not literally. I'm not talking about Jacob and Edward.
Are we talking about Twilight?
No, we're talking about
in general
the debate of Team Edward versus Team Jacob in reference to actual monsters and not like lore.
Yeah,
and,
okay.
Like horror genre. Like we're talking about the genre, not the characters. But it is vampires versus werewolves.
I would have to say that I am in favor of vampires. You knew that about me?
No, I just hoped.
You were worried that I was going to be a werewolf guy?
I'm not mad about werewolves. I think lycanthropes are amazing. I just personally have always had an affinity toward vampires, which I think is very telling of the media that I consumed and just what it says about. I think it says a lot about people if they're team werewolf or team vampire. Like I think it's a very telling sort of thing. So I'm just curious to know what your arguments would be.
So the reason I am more team vampire than team werewolf, I'm not using those blasphemous names.
So team Edward.
No, team vampire.
Team Edward.
Because if it's team Edward or team Jacob, I am team F them both. Because those are blasphemous, like deserve to be burned alive movies. Like,
have you seen them though?
Have you
seen the Twilight movies?
I've seen bits and pieces and like know the general idea. And I'm sorry, vampires don't sparkle.
There it is.
Also, how we're supposed to ignore the creepiness of someone who is over 100 years old hitting on a teenager.
But now see that plays into your argument of vampires.
What?
You say it's a bad thing, but you still are in favor of vampires.
Yeah, well, that's because like vampires aren't like being like, I want to have a relationship with you. It is, I'm seducing you so that I can feed upon you. That is different. They're not treating the, because obviously vampires like, hundreds or thousands of years old, any woman they're going after is obviously a weird age difference, but it's like, they're not going after those women and looking for a mate. They're going after those women looking for food.
You don't read a lot of paranormal romances, do you?
No, I'm going off of like, I'm not going off of monster romance logic here. I am going off of monster movie logic here.
I was going to say, that is incorrect, sir. That is very incorrect indeed.
But, like, I don't know. It's just, I think it's mainly because of the control. Because, like, vampires are 100% in control of their powers, of the scenario, stuff like that. Whereas werewolves are basically at the mercy of their animal instincts.
Well, and the circumstances thrust upon them.
Yeah. Well, depending on the vampire, that No,
but see, with werewolves, you are a human being
Mm-hmm.
most of the month until the full moon happens. So
Yeah.
like you're at the mercy of the elements that control.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a vampire is a vampire is a vampire.
Yeah.
You're bit, you're turned, you're sired, whatever, and then that's just it. You're
Yeah.
still at the mercy of the sun, depending on what mythos you believe.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the same as being a normal person until all of a sudden you are forcibly ripped from your humanity
Mm-hmm.
and forced into an animalistic depiction of yourself
Yep.
every full moon. So I would argue that like vampires are just always monsters as opposed to werewolves, which is why in like most paranormal romances there's a lot of like gray morality and a lot of self-loathing revolving werewolves, because they know what monsters they are and they have no say in the matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of like having it forced upon. Now same thing with vampires. You can have vampires who are sired against their will, and that's also the same sort of thing. But it's different with werewolves, because with vampire, once you're sired, you are what you are.
Mm-hmm.
But werewolves, you can never, either you have to fully embrace your identity, like, because sometimes they try to live normal lives. Like, oh no, I'm a normal human,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not a normal human. You're ultimately a monster at least once a
Mhm.
month, if not more, depending on circumstances. So, like,
One thing I would say, if we're not going with the Twilight garbage, is
they are
that
not beholden to the moon. You are correct.
there should be a third category.
Okay.
Frankenstein monster
Okay.
is which do you prefer, werewolf, vampire, or Frankenstein monster? Because
When you say
then,
Frankenstein monster, do you mean like Sally from Nightmare? Like, do you mean like any kind of cobbled together
yes,
creature?
and any kind of
Because
because
there is only one Frankenstein monster.
yes, but like you can't say Frankenstein because then we're going to get all the technically correct people saying his name is not Frankenstein. Frankenstein is the name of the doctor. And
No, I know that.
this.
So that's what I'm
But
saying.
like, yeah,
Like,
so like not specifically the Frankenstein monster.
you're saying
but-
Frankenstein type monsters.
Yeah, yes. So like, so like with vampires, we're not talking specifically about Dracula,
Okay.
but
right.
vampires in general.
Correct.
But they're like, I feel saying a Frankenstein monster doesn't mean it has to be made by Frankenstein. It's just a monster
A cobbled together
yeah.
creature.
cobbled together creature in that realm. And I would say the matchup between Frankenstein monster and vampire is closer to me than vampire werewolf. Like, to me, vampire werewolf, vampire is far ahead, but with Frankenstein monster and vampire,
Mm-hmm.
those are closer together in my personal favorites.
Okay.
And it is tough. I think I might go with the Frankenstein monster over the vampire.
Okay.
Simply because, one, I like the science angle, you know me.
Sure.
And two, it's the, like, with the vampire and with the werewolf, it's, like, with the vampire, most of the time at least, they are a monster and they accept that they are a monster. With the werewolf, they are usually human but are turned into a monster and, like, struggle with that.
Mhm.
But with the Frankenstein monster, they start off as a monster but are, in most cases, trying to be accepted as human. I think I like that storyline a little bit better.
Okay. That's
Because
interesting.
a lot of times the Frankenstein monsters are viewed as more sympathetic,
Mhm.
being like they are trying to be good. Like one of my examples is the Van
Helsing?
thank you, movie, which has all three. It has Dracula and other vampires, it has werewolves, and it has Frankenstein's monster.
Mm-hmm.
And in that one, Van Helsing says, evil created this, it constructed it, but it itself is not evil. And it's just like, I don't know, it's not, like, I don't know why, if it's my personality, my social awkwardness, but I've always liked characters who are striving to be accepted in the social groupings. Like, I've told you before, some of my favorite Star Trek characters are characters that are either not human or, simply have issues with dealing with humans. So like Data from Next Generation, he is an android, but he keeps trying to be human. The Doctor in Star Trek Voyager, he is a hologram, but he constantly strives to improve himself and be accepted as a person. 7 and 9, also from Voyager, she is a human, but because she was taken in by the Borg, but at a very young age, she does not quite understand human interactions and is like constantly struggling with that. So like those kind of characters I often am drawn more towards. So of the three, I would say I'm in team Frankenstein. I'm in team Frankie.
Which is interesting because I would argue that the werewolf better fits that than vampires, which is your first choice. Look at Professor Lupin.
The werewolf, I argue, is not a monster trying to be accepted by humanity. It is a human who is struggling with the monster inside themselves. So like, yes, they're struggling, but like that to me is more of a person who does interact well in social gatherings and stuff like that, but inside they're having turmoil. Whereas a Frankenstein, they just straight up always have issues, and they are struggling to be accepted.
Okay.
Like the werewolf, until they're discovered as a werewolf, the werewolf is when they're human in their human form is always often accepted in society.
Okay. Okay. The problem, you're totally right.
Yeah.
The reason I think of it is my two biggest examples are Richard from the Anita Blake series and Professor Lupin from Harry Potter, both who are teachers, and both would be in a very precarious situation if the parents of the students that they teach found out that a monster was in charge of teaching their children.
Yeah, but like I said before, like with Lupin and Harry Potter, he is accepted until his thing is discovered. So like he is hiding something. So like to me that the werewolf, I would say, so Frankenstein I would argue is like people who have issue like either social anxiety or like problems in social gatherings, whereas the werewolf more encapsulates people with shoot, I had the answer and then left my head here. Give me 1 second here. People who are hiding, for example, people who are hiding their sexuality. I feel that's a closer, because like I feel people doing that, often bound with werewolves, because it's like they have something about themselves that they have to keep hidden because they do not want the judgment of others, which is not something I personally had to deal with, but I did have to deal with very often, just being socially awkward, and not being accepted by groups of people and stuff like that. So I think that's why. And like with the vampire, I think it's just simply, the vampires are just kind of cool kids in the group. So like of this three, you had the awkward, the socially awkward guy. You have the closeted person, and you have the cool kid.
Okay. Well, there you go.
All right. So now to wrap up our episode like we usually do, let's see if I can find my list of
antique words.
Now this will be the
antique lexicon.
Yeah, this will be
the last segment, probably, right?
Yeah, because after this, we're going. I felt it was. I feel like we'll have one more fun and two easier for me to find good groupings for marry, kiss, kill.
Oh, that's right. That was going to be our new plan, but we have a few more words.
Once I find them.
Once you find them.
Because I am not very well organized. I should have bookmarked this ahead of time, because I use the same notepad that I use for when I'm making scripts for my YouTube videos. Oh my goodness, what in the wait.
It's a lot of words on every page here. Words per page.
Wait a minute, where
did
I pass it? Where did it go?
I don't know.
Let's try this again. Okay.
Once more, with feeling.
Ah, there it is. Okay, it was earlier than I thought. I thought it was in later pages. It's on the first page. Okay.
Okay.
So, first one here. Okay, this is good.
I'm scared. It is a spooky episode after all. I should be.
Yeah.
Woo.
Ready?
Yes.
Full of moist.
Oh no.
Yeah. So what do you think full of moist means?
I don't like any of those words you just said.
You don't like the word of?
It sounds like the old days of hysteria and women. It sounds like if you are full of moist, you are full of...
I like how you are very carefully dancing around this subject. This is not the first time either. Remember full as a tick?
Yes.
You were doing the same thing?
Yes. I'm trying to be mature in my teapot and with my frog. It sounds to me like if you say someone's full of hot air, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just talking bull crap, right?
Yeah.
They're just puffing themselves up to sound important. So like if you're full of moist, would that be like a melancholic, like are you unhappy? Are you like prone to, do you need your vapors? I don't know. Like it sounds like I say, it sounds like something you would say about a hysterical woman who was just, a perfectly normal woman who was going through postpartum depression or other mental health issues.
That's not where I thought you were going with that. Because another reason women were often called hysterical is if they were too frisky.
Well, yes, that too.
I thought that's where you were going with that.
No. I mean, it could be. In this
So
instance,
warning
it
to
sounds like
those
it could
listening,
be.
I have a sneeze that might be coming here. And he's... Excuse me, there it is. I could feel it in my nose. I could feel that it was not going to go away. So apologies to headphone users. And no, that is not
it's
what
not
that
like
means.
a melancholic, like she's full of woe and misery.
Nope.
No?
It means it's hot.
Like it's humid?
Yeah, just it's hot. I'm sweating. I'm full of moist. It's hot.
I don't like that at all.
No.
That's awful.
So next time I'm lying. Next time I'm
Please
lying
don't
in
say
bed
you're full of moist
and
when you're
it's super
sweating.
hot. Oh, hon, I am full of moist.
Ew.
All right.
Ew.
Next up, happy returns.
Oh, happy birthday.
Huh?
Happy birthday.
Nope.
No?
That is not what happy returns
It's
means.
not? Every time there's a British thing where they say happy birthday, it's always many happy returns. Does it mean like...
Well, that's not the meaning that I got when I got this one.
It's okay. Well, maybe it means something else. Maybe
All right,
it's
so
like
I'll give you another one since that one, like it may have changed meaning in recent history,
well,
but that's
no.
not.
But what I'm saying is maybe it doesn't. Maybe they mean something else. They say it when they're wishing you well, but maybe it means something different.
So what do you think happy returns means? And doesn't mean happy birthday.
Well, I kind of thought it was like what, like returns from, like if you leave and you come back, like, you know what I mean? Like it's. I thought it was like a well wish. So I guess it's not. What is it?
It means to vomit.
What?
To vomit.
Yeah, I'm aware what that means.
Yep. So
What?
my guess, if I'd had to guess on the origin of this, is
What, your food returns to its plate?
no, some more of someone drinking too much, they're too happy, and so because like a lot of people equate being drunk with being happy.
Yeah.
And drinking too much and throwing up, happy returns.
Oh, that's.
At least that's a guess. That is not like research at all. But yeah.
Well, now I really want to know why British people say it when they talk about birthdays.
Maybe they expect you to go out and drink and puke your guts out.
But like they say it to kids. Like it's not just adults. It's
All
like many happy returns. I don't know. I'm
least
very confused now.
It could be like context. Like saying it that way
Right.
means, celebration thing. But it's just like, someone going, and it's like, oh, you getting some happy returns there?
Yeah.
Like the context of how you say it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
All right, ready for this one?
Yes. No, but yes.
Being on a left-handed honeymoon.
Huh?
Being on a left-handed honeymoon.
Huh? So things aren't going well because left-handed people are always prejudiced against, and anything left is bad.
Is that what you're thinking?
Or I don't know, like, what is it? Is that what you go on after a shotgun wedding? Left-handed honeymoon?
I love watching your mind work on these things.
Maybe it has nothing to do with marriage at all. Maybe it's some other thing. God, I don't know. These things could mean literally anything.
That is true.
I have no idea. I'm gonna say that's what you go on after a shotgun wedding.
No.
Okay.
It means cheating.
Oh!
So, if you see, like, a guy in a car with a woman that's not his wife, you guys, I saw Jimmy going on a left-handed
honeymoon. Okay. That's actually kind of clever.
Yeah, where's Jimmy? He's on a left-handed
honeymoon, yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's naughty. All right.
Ready for this?
I kind of like my definition, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Like, a lot of times to say you stuff makes sense.
Yeah, like I come to logical conclusions. I'm just wrong.
All right?
Yes.
Cluck and grunt.
Chickens and pigs. Livestock. Again, my mind is going to places I feel like it shouldn't go. Is it kind of like back to the old grind, like working the farm, or is it to complain about something? Maybe it's to complain about something. If you're clucking and grunting, it's like, stop complaining.
You are way overthinking this.
Does it just mean pigs and chickens?
It means ham and eggs.
Oh my god!
So, like,
no!
You know, what do you be having? Give me a cluck and grunt.
That's kind of cute, actually. I like that. That's adorable.
And last
the last one ever. Unless we find more.
Unless, like, it's easy to find these other ones, but just like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. Whereas I really look forward.
The last one for a while.
Yeah, the last one for now.
For now.
But only for now.
Only for now.
Avenue Q, in case you're wondering. Anyway, dog soup. For those listening on the podcast, Lauren just made a face.
I don't enjoy this at all. Why'd you pick all the really weird ones for this time? I feel like the other ones had some more, like, diversity in terms of oddness.
Really?
Yeah, kinda. I feel like these are all just very bizarre. Oh well, it works.
You don't think Cop a Mouse was bizarre?
No, Cop a Mouse was definitely the weirdest one you've ever done.
So dog soup.
Dog soup. Again, I'm thinking of the weather. Like, but that's rain, cats, and dogs. But, like, I don't know, like, oh, it's dog soup. Everything's British for me. None of these are Americanisms, apparently. Like, how was your day, Ben, mate? Oh, it was dog soup. Like, it sounds like it was really bad. He's laughing at my accent. I'm gonna stick with that. That sounded so right when I said it.
So you basically think it means like you know,
something bad happened.
Yeah, it's a
like,
bad day.
It's dog soup. It's a bad day, bad circumstances, bad everything.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
It means water.
Because dogs drink it like food, so like a soup.
Yeah.
I like mine better.
Yeah. I like yours better too.
Oh, it was dog soup, mate. It was a very bad day.
Alright. So next time, I will come up with 3. I think I'm gonna stick to fictional characters because I don't.
Because real people are weird to ship and kiss and such.
I'm gonna say, remember, it's not you shipping them. It's which one you would kiss, which one you would marry, which one you would
it's
kill.
still technically shipping.
Yeah, but it's just I might do it with celebrities or historical figures at some point. But like I'm definitely gonna start off with fictional characters.
I think that is best.
All right. So, thank you for listening and or watching us. Once again, I am Steven.
And I am Lauren.
If you are listening to this on Spotify, you can catch me and sometimes Lauren on YouTube at Invasive Wit, on Twitch, also Invasive Wit, and on TikTok, also Invasive Wit. If you're watching this on YouTube and you would like to listen to it on Spotify, all you have to do is look up the title of our series, which is called Witty Banter. Actually, before we say goodbye, I have one final surprise.
One final surprise?
Yes, Pikachu is also hiding something else.
What is Pikachu hiding?
What is Pikachu hiding? Excuse me, Pikachu. So, Lauren, you've made my life happier than I've ever been, and I want you to continue making it the happiest life I could possibly have. So, if you would do me the honor, will you marry me? No, this is the reaction I was expecting.
Oh my god. This is how you chose to do.
Yep. I was planning on doing this during one of our podcasts, and I didn't want to wait any longer.
Oh my god.
And then you came up with the idea of us doing it in a costume, and I'm like, oh, this is going to make the proposal even better. But yep.
Are you serious?
I am 100%
You're
serious.
not joking.
Okay, I know I'm a bit of a jokester, but I don't think I would go so far as buying an engagement ring.
Oh my god. Oh my god, it's beautiful.
Yes, right size. Okay.
Oh my god.
I was so worried about that.
Oh my god, it's so beautiful.
I love you.
I love you too.
For those
So I'm
listening
still
on,
Greg,
yeah,
and he's still Wirt, and this is still Jason Funderburger.
all right. So thank you for watching and or listening, and goodbye and good luck.
Bye.
So
Oh
you
my
want to hear a funny story?
It hasn't even been 2 years yet.
I know. You want to hear a funny story?
Uh-huh.
Remember the day that you came back from work and surprised me and said, hey, let's go out to lunch, and I was all flustered? The
Is
reason
that why you were freaking out?
the reason I was all flustered is I was just done like talking with my sister through Facebook, and then also like calling her and talking with her on the phone, because I wanted Sam to kind of help me out. So Sam and my folks both know, but like, because to keep it a surprise, I had it mailed to my parents' house.
Oh, okay.
And
Is that why you went to go see your mom?
that is why I went to go see
Oh
my
my
mom. And she was able to figure it out because they had to sign for it.
Mhm.
And so as soon as she had to sign for it, they were able to figure it out on their own. But like, I was talking with Sam on Facebook and then on the phone. And so I was like, okay, I got it all planned out. I'm going to, I was like, okay, I got it all planned out. I'm going to go into town and look at some jewelry stores to see, if there's anything I like in there. And so as I'm getting ready to leave, like I just got done talking with Sam, you show up and like, hey Steve, you want to go for lunch? And I'm just like, keep a poker face, which I didn't do a very good job of. Like, okay, you're not doing a good job of keeping a poker face. Come up with a reason why you are so flustered right now, which is why I was like, oh, it's because I had plans to do stuff, and you kind of have thrown me kind of out of whack here with yours. I was like, not that I'm upset, but that's why I'm all flustered. Yeah, that's why I was all flustered.
Which is so funny because that was like one of the best days.
Mhm.
I remember I was feeling so sad and
Yeah.
so like depressed. And I was like, I really needed this. Like I really needed to go out to lunch with you. And like it was like one of
But
my
yeah.
favorite days recently.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've been very nervous because since I Googled for a lot of this stuff, and Google and Facebook are very tight, a lot of my, pretty much all of my advertisements on Facebook have been for engagement rings.
I thought I saw one on your phone, but I thought I was just seeing things.
And that's why I'm like, Facebook, will you shut the heck up? You are going to ruin this surprise. So like, I have been very paranoid about looking at Facebook while you've been around.